All right, this is an example of how you can use the feedback loop application during assessment. So I might be working with a patient that's reporting feeling sad and having problems sleeping and maybe using alcohol. And so these are things that we can track in measures. Some of them have their own measures, some of them might be items within the same measure, but it's also interesting to see how they view the relationships between these different things. And so you can ask them to fill this out on their end, and while you do it on your end. They can use their phone for this, which everyone has on them at all times. And so when they go through this, they might think that there's no relationship between their depression and their sleeping patterns, that when they're depressed, it makes their drinking worse. On the other hand, they might say, well, when I drink, it actually makes me feel less depressed, so in that sense, it's making it better. And when I drink, it actually helps me sleep. So they might view the drinking as something that makes the sleep better. And on your end, based on what you know about these things, you might say, well, poor sleep is a symptom of depression, so if the depression gets worse, the sleep is going to get worse. It's probably going to make the drinking worse. If they slept more, then it might help with their depression. Maybe they're not sleeping enough. And that, the drinking in the long run is making the depression worse. And it's also making the sleep worse. And so when you two do this, then you can compare the graphs, and it's immediately obvious that you have divergent views on how these things are connected. And so it really opens the door to a lot of interesting conversations and insight. You gain insight about how they view things, and they gain insight about how you view things. And so here it's clear that the drinking is maintained in some respects because they perceive it to have a benefit. It makes them feel better, and it makes it easier for them to fall asleep. And so you can have a conversation about how drinking might make it easier to fall asleep, but actually reduces the quality of sleep, and how drinking might make them feel less depressed while they're drinking, but in the long run may actually exacerbate their depression. You can also talk about how improved sleep can have an impact on depression. So this is a connection that they don't perceive. And if they begin to perceive that there's a benefit to improving their sleep, and that their drinking is getting in the way of improving their sleep, then that might build their motivation to reduce their drinking or to engage in better sleep habits as a way of targeting their depression. And so there's a lot of interesting conversations. Some of these discrepancies might not be immediately resolved, and they can open the door for some daily monitoring between sessions to see, okay, is there really a relationship, and if so, is it positive or negative?